So don't get me wrong. Throughout the course of the past few weeks, we have made a bunch of videos praising the heck out of Matthew Darche. We had spoken about Darche's incredible work at the 2025 draft. We had spoken about the work the Islanders have done in the offseason. We had spoken about prospects drafted by this team, as well as names acquired in free agency. There's a lot to like out of what the New York Islanders have done so far. Let's take a look at the draft over here and just give some props, Matthew Darche has been doing some really good work. First overall pick, Matthew Schaefer. Now, I get it. You can say, hey, that wasn't really Matthew Darche's accomplishment. He just won the draft lottery. And yeah, that's true. But you gotta be good to be lucky. Gotta be lucky to be good at sometimes. So we will say the Islanders came out of that situation with a win. And you also had yourselves the Noah Dobson trade, which landed the Islanders 16 and 17, which they used to select Victor Eklund and Kashan Aitchison. Two prospects that, by all accounts, probably should not have been available at this spot in the 2025 draft. But of course, we have to at least recognize that even though Aitchison and Eklund are great, these two were not the prospects that the Islanders necessarily wanted as bad as they had wanted another guy. Because at the 7th overall spot, the Boston Bruins, they selected James Hagens, a player that a lot of folks were connecting back to New York because, guess what? Hagens is from that area. He is from Hauppauge, New York, USA. Islanders guy, he would have been a hometown Isle had he found a way to have gotten drafted by the New York Islanders. And I say that as if he had any control over the situation. No, he didn't. He was just the prospect. But the Islanders were trying to move up into this range of the draft. They wanted to draft Hagens. They wanted this guy over Aitchison and Eklund. Now, that is absolutely not to discredit the two guys they did take. They're fine. They're really good prospects. But reports were the Islanders wanted to move up. And now we have ourselves some pretty concrete words as to where it is the Islanders were willing to take this conversation. And it comes to us in the form of Spectres Hockey from July 9th, 2025. Now, I wanted to leave a link in the description to two articles. We have the Spectres Hockey article as well as this Pittsburgh Hockey Now article that is linked in the Spectres Hockey article. If you know what Spectres Hockey is about, Lyle Richardson pretty much takes a lot of the biggest news stories and rumors and compiles it into one article, whilst leaving links to all of the original sources, which is why this is a very good resource for those trying to find the latest scoop on things. There is a Pittsburgh Hockey Now article that is linked, written by Dan Kinierski, which is also going to be put in the description below. Dan's Daily. The Oilers get Howard, Isles talk blockbuster, Penguins trade problem. If we scroll down to the bottom of the piece, the middle to the bottom of the piece, there is a conversation about the New York Islanders. And it goes over some of the same talking points that we had gone over in prior videos. Frank Seravalli was on the Kevin Karius show, a show that I never decline when he wants to talk. He is one of the best in the NHL, and he had a bombshell. The New York Islanders have talked about an Ilya Sorokin trade. NHL Rumor Report's tweet is then put here. I do think at varying points there have been some conversations about Ilya Sorokin. And that's it. That's all this article goes out there and says. But the Spectres Hockey piece has a little bit of extra info, which I do think is juicier to dive into, too. Let's read Spectres Hockey from yesterday. Are the Islanders considering trading Ilya Sorokin? Okay, that's kind of what we had already spoken about. Kinierski cited Seravalli of Daily Faceoff, formerly of Daily Faceoff, claiming the Islanders consider the possibility of trading Sorokin. Seravalli made the remarks during an appearance on the Kevin Karius show. This is the paragraph we care about. The 29-year-old goaltender is in the second year of his 8-year contract with an AAV of $8.25 million. Seravalli said he had heard of speculation that the Islanders had discussed a deal with the Utah Mammoth for the 4th overall pick in the 2025 NHL Draft. Spector's note says this: there's no reaction yet from those who cover the Islanders regarding this report. Any attempt to trade Sorokin would need the goaltender's blessing. He has a full no-movement clause through 27/2028. Oh boy. Did the New York Islanders dangle Ilya Sorokin to the Utah Mammoth for the 4th overall pick? I'm just going to go out there and say it right here. I honestly don't think the value is unfair. I think that for a goaltender of Ilya Sorokin's magnitude, you can say that this guy should be able to demand a hefty price on the trade market. Now, sure, Sorokin might not be reaching the highest of highs compared to a few years ago. The previous few years, he's at a 907 this previous season, a 909 the year before that. But the years before he had 920s back-to-back seasons, you could also say that the Islanders not really being as good as they were in those years has definitely contributed to Sorokin's decline in save percentage. But still, reputation-wise, this guy's getting paid all that money for a reason. This guy gives you a chance to win every night. And if there was a trade to be made, he could probably fetch such a hefty price tag. Now, is that price tag a 4th overall caliber asset? I honestly don't know. You'd have to stretch it a little bit. You would really have to twist my arm to get me to agree to an Ilya Sorokin for 4th overall trade. But at the same time, I can understand it. The Utah Mammoth were already reportedly shopping that 4th overall pick. It's not like they don't value Caleb Desnoyers. It's just that there probably was an offer or 2 or 3 that they would have accepted had they been given it. And it's very apparent based off of all this info here that Ilya Sorokin, at least by himself, might not have been enough. Which does make me intrigued to an extent. I wonder just how much they evaluated Caleb Desnoyers and that 4th overall pick. But I'm also thinking about it too, like, hey, the Utah Mammoth, their goaltending was interesting this previous year. Mrtka and Connor Ingram split the load, and I'm not gonna lie, like, Connor Ingram could have been better, especially when he came back, but Mrtka did have a 904 save percentage in 58 games played. He was good some nights. It's just Ilya Sorokin is technically an upgrade, even with his decline in save percentage the past few years. Sorokin, if he's playing behind a stronger defense, probably does get back to 910 plus territory. Actually, does he do that? I don't know. Honestly, I think the NHL is just going to a lot more of a shooter-centric capacity versus goaltenders posting up 915s and 920s consistently. So maybe Ilya Sorokin was doomed from the very beginning to not be able to bounce back in that way. But still, he's an upgrade over Mrtka. He is a very good goaltender, and he is one of the best in the league. 4th overall draftee for Caleb Desnoyers. Yeah, sure, that's valuable, but I do wonder if this trade was just so straight up, like, oh, did the Islanders offer Sorokin for the 4th overall pick and the Utah Mammoth said no? Or if it was like Sorokin plus one of these 2 extra draft picks that the Isles had in the 16-17 spot. That would have been insane to reject one of those deals. At the end of the day, though, I just kind of wanted to get this conversation started because with this information from Frank that reportedly the Islanders might have made this offer, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How does that make you feel? And would you have wanted to see this go down? If the Islanders ended up getting James Hagens with the 4th overall pick, which was probably the player they wanted to target had they gotten this trade to go through, would you have been happy with that result? What are your thoughts on Islanders goaltending and Ilya Sorokin's spot in the lineup? And how do you feel about this trade rumor? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.